Welcome to Tiffdoesloans Podcast. So today I have Emily Rosales. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thank you so much for coming. Me and Emily met way back at some events last year. And she has just been crushing it all over social media, and all of her content is so amazing. And she has been helping other solo entrepreneurs build their brands and just stay consistent with that content and really grow their business using, this day and age like social media to really build that brand. But I love how your focus is more on the brand and not so much marketing. So why don't you just kind of tell us how you got in, your journey into being a business owner, a coach, and now not only building your brand, but taking on that responsibility to build other brands.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to be here. My whole entrepreneur journey actually started back in 2019.
Oh, nice.
So I started in as a self-employed. It was initially in real estate, in mortgages. That's kind of where I started my journey. And I felt like that was going to be it. That's where I was going to spend most of my time and energy in building a business around mortgages. It didn't turn out to be necessarily that, but it's still I left mortgages back in the end of 2021. So
okay, so you did the whole the big pop of 2020.
Yeah.
So 21 was also really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end.
So I entered right before COVID's.
Yes.
Into the industry.
Okay.
And then I left the very end of 2021. So that's
really got so that was the time to be in there. So you really got your exit strategy on point.
Well,
because 22, because 22, it was still okay in the beginning, but that was the year. So 22, it was 3.5 in January, but September it was 7.5. So 22 was really, it doubled in 6 months. So it was really gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, you shared exit strategy. I mean, it was kind of like a forced exit strategy, exit. Yeah. I actually went through a pretty difficult separation at that time. It was a breakup that kind of was the catalyst to being is this really what I want to keep doing? Because we were both in the industry. So it was just something where I was okay, I really need to do some soul searching because it was a tough separation. And that was, it ended up being the biggest blessing of my life. And I'm really grateful for, the experience. So that's kind of when at the very beginning, leaving 22 was when I took some time. I was just kind of there was a few months where I was just what's going on? What do I do? I don't know I don't think I want to go back into mortgages. It just didn't feel right to me. I'm do I look for a job? What's going on? So it took me some time to really figure out what was next. But I always did feel I had an entrepreneur spirit. I'm super driven, super I need to bring something out into the world. So that was kind of where the search started. I started to really do some deep diving into well, what can I do? And that's kind of when I saw some the power of marketing. I saw some ads around build your own coaching business, and then that I went down a whole rabbit hole after that. And I was oh my gosh, God, my faith is so strong. So I'm God, if you can lay this path out for me, I promise this is my commitment, my devotion to actually figuring this out. So that's kind of where I took that journey in the end of 2022. And then 23 was when I officially started everything.
I love that. And so that was a couple years ago, but I feel that's so big and a lot can relate to the separation part or that breakup. That was that same time and that same year for me where when I got out of that, I was okay, what is going on? And I started making change after change after change. Yeah. But, now, it's been 4 years and I didn't really change career aspects, but I went on my own. But, I think that is so huge. the fact that you turned it into, can see it as a blessing.
Yeah.
And I think that, a lot of these breakups and struggles that we have, they do hold the power to be a blessing, but you still have to take that time and put that work in. And it looks like you did. And it looks like you found where you were meant to be, really helping a lot of people at this point. So, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm sure people can relate to breakups completely changing people's lives, and
especially if that person was terrible. Like in my case, I was like, I had to do that. I literally had that conversation, like, what is going on here? Like, I've never been in anything like this, and this, like, I did a whole like, what's going on? If they're a loser, I'm a loser. And I was like, what's and like, no blaming or anything. That was that point, but that's when you get to that point where you have to take responsibility. And because if you just do the blame game, unfortunately, you're going to blame that person, and then you're just going to go run out and you're going to get in the same thing, and it's going to be a pattern. Luckily for me, this person in my life was not a pattern. I was already more kind of like going in an identity shift. Like now I know, but like 2020, which a lot of people did, and just like that, whoa. And so luckily I only endured that for like 11 months, but that was my big life changer,
Preach,
when you get
girl.
out of that.
Preach, I mean.
But now look, here we are. Now we're entrepreneurs, and now I'm like, it really was a blessing.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people, it's going to be a lot of work, but as long as you can see the struggles as the blessings and keep pushing through them.
Yes, I love that. I love when you shared like the, taking responsibility for the role. Like
you have to.
Yeah.
Because that's where the change comes in. If you're just the person that is like, oh, this person is bad, like, oh, they suck this, that, they did this, then unfortunately you're just going to go, you're going to go back out and get the same thing. Like, I was like, okay, my choices, like, something landed me here. Like, this is bad. Like, we've never been here. Like, all the alerts were going off. I was like, I've never been here before. Like, this is really weird. But then you start looking at it like, okay, whatever habits, whatever patterns, whatever, like, something in the past decade has led me to this. So, I think it's like huge and I feel like that was the biggest difference to really step into that new life that I was supposed to, is taking that responsibility. But it is like that hard part,
And that's so wise too. I mean, it is so wise to be like being aware of that, of like taking the responsibility and being like, all right.
And it could all be different things. For me, that's just, for me, I called him a loser, and I was like, look, if he's a loser, I'm a loser. And then like, it just kept, like whatever it may be for everybody, it's going to be different, but to really recognize, I think that's to huge, recognize like, okay, wait a minute. Like, am I completely in the wrong? Or, and it could be, it could be so many things, but I think that's huge. So like really push through. So I'm glad that you made it. I know that was around the same time too, because I've been on that. Yeah, that was early February or like 2022.
Okay, that was similar, because I've been single for 4 years too. So,
yes, we're coming on. Look at that, get it, girl. So coming on. Now, really, I feel like stepping into, and I feel like it will take a couple of years, or you even said after that first year, then you know, but you had God the whole time, right?
Yeah, okay. When that happened, I was like, God, take the wheel, because I've never been in this situation either. Like, I felt very similar in the sense where I'm like, okay, God, like I forgive me, because this was too much for me. So the 4 year journey has been like a deep devotion to my faith after that.
Yeah. I found God revealed himself to me. So 2 years after that. So I actually I was not like raised in the church or anything. And I felt like now he gave me a gift of like this self journey. Mm-hmm. So for 2 years I like went on more of a deep self journey. And then it was like right at that full time. I don't know, like he ended up revealing himself to me in March of 24. So
oh, wow.
I've been on that deep journey now with God. Yeah. But
Isn't it so beautiful?
Yeah. I got baptized in June of 25.
Wow.
Or 24, sorry. It's almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that's like the real transformation there. Yeah. Because the first 2 years, I did all the audiobooks. I learned the brain. I read all about narcissism and all of these things. Like, I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, what happened to my brain? There's this thing called incognitive decision. Like, I knew all the ins and outs of like these.
Like understanding the dynamic, right?
Of the mind.
Yeah.
And I just went in the mind, and then, that's where I kept diving in and learning. I just went through all these regular books, which it was great. But then 2 years later, I felt like I built a good foundation and I felt good about where I was going. But I also just still felt like I was kind of going and like something was missing. I was like, I'm going to all these events, but I'm still not trusting outside of me. So that was when, like now I know it was God the whole time, but I talked to God for the first time in one of my meditations, and it was just, it changed my life. So now I have a relationship. Like I never knew that was a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Before, to have one with God. But all of that is amazing. So let's kind of dive in a little to, you specialize with solopreneurs. So kind of building that brand, but also where you focus with them is their values, like aligning their values with their brand. So what are some key points here or strategies that you use to work on that, to make sure that their brand is rooted in their values before they start marketing, right?
Yeah. So, learning, like when I decided to dive deep, like I started as a coaching business, and then I was like, okay, I'm really going to niche down into branding and marketing, because I always approached even mortgages through a branding and marketing lens. I was always thinking like, what's going to differentiate me? What's going to, how am I going to do this different? How am I going to stand out? Like I always had those questions even when I was in mortgages. So I'm like, okay, now I really want to dive deep into creating a methodology that people can go through to understand how branding goes hand in hand with marketing. So the whole idea of the branding is to save you time and to give you much more clarity on who you are and who your audience is. So it's literally that bridge between because like attracts like. So even subconsciously, you're attracting people with similar values, with similar personalities. So the more you can actually define it and actually have a foundation for it, it becomes much more effortless for your marketing to be like, okay, these you know what to say yes to and you know what to say no to. So values, some people can kind of see it as fluff or like, oh, I don't even know if I need that. But ultimately, it's running in the background most of the time. It's helping you like with your decision making, with guiding your decisions. It's like a system, basically. So if really dialing in to knowing what exactly you value and connecting with people that value similar things.
I think that too is just also doing a lot of that work on yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's because an inner game.
Because if you don't know, like I feel like my content has gotten better throughout, now it's probably, I've been doing it almost 3 years or maybe 2.5 years. But now I do see it getting better, but it's also like I know like more who I am. So I feel like,
right.
Or like I kind of know what my values are. Like I feel like a couple of years ago I didn't really have all that like lined up in my mind. So I wonder if that kind of makes a difference.
It's actually having like a strategy for it. You're not just like doing it just to do it. It's kind of like having a container, a foundation more than anything, so that the marketing is much more effective. Like that's the overall goal of building a foundation, because a lot of business owners are not fully educated on the branding side. They think it's just a logo or it's just like visuals, but in reality, there's a whole foundation that people do not see, but they feel.
So when you say branding, are you more like, because you said logo or name, so is it branding is still like kind of talking about themselves, right? Like more introducing.
It's strategically talking about yourself so that your audience can see.
More personal.
Yeah, so your audience can see themselves in what you do and what you offer.
Okay. More than just the business.
Yeah. So it's like your story, your origin story, or how you got started. It's connected to the business, in a sense. Yeah. Because you got into the business for a reason. Something led you into that, and having much more clarity and actually definition to it. That's the missing. The people bypass the language to it, the articulation to it, and the definition. So it's actually like you're defining it. And using that as a strategy for your marketing, because a lot of business owners just lead with the marketing. They're like, okay, I just need ads. I need to get out there. But it becomes really random sometimes, or you're just kind of, you feel just really scattered. Yeah. So that's where I come in, where it's like, okay, well, if you're having them work hand in hand, you're able to be much more effective. Ultimately, it's about efficiency.
Yeah.
Because it's like you could be doing a bunch of content, you could be doing so much, but like really figuring out, okay, where's your focus at and how are you tracking this?
And how is the audience like kind of...
How are they resonating?
Yeah. Like how do they respond? Like that's the hard part too, is that I don't always think that people are fully responding, or they might not be like saying anything. But then I see people out and they're like, man, your content's been great, or like, hey, that really helped me. Or so, or like, for me instance, and I've been told to kind of do like a pillar thing, but I didn't want to be that person that just kept posting mortgages like all day. So I started posting every day through stories, but my regular life. So like just me running or, and then, so that's kind of helped. Is that like a strategy?
Yeah,
or
it's having a balance between your personal.
Do you tell people, like, does that kind of help, like pull the personal in?
Yeah.
Because then they get to see me, and then I'm showing like how you're saying, like how I see it, or maybe if I'm getting what you're saying is like the foundation, like for me, my values, I'm consistent. Like I'm a consistent person, like that. Now, because I used to not be, but now I am. But I want people to see that. So, but I don't want to stand up there and be like, hey, I'm consistent.
Right.
So instead, through my content, I'm showing them, like I'm running every day. Yeah. I'm like, the consistency shows, and the discipline, like consistency and discipline. And that's like, I guess you would say those are my values.
Yes.
So, okay. So I guess in a sense, that's like what you're saying, right? So get a way to show these values.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and people are feeling it. You are.
I'm kind of doing it already.
Yeah. I mean,
so that kind of, because I was like, how am I can't be like, hey, I'm available and transparent, or like the things that people want to know. So I guess in a sense, that's where my mind was when I started, like, I'm just going to keep posting, and I post a lot of scripture, and I post me running. But then every day I try to post stuff like this too. Right. So, but they're not overwhelmed by just
mortgages,
just the mortgages stuff.
Yeah.
Because then it would be all day. They'd probably mute me.
I get it.
At least, yeah.
That's the strategy behind bringing in some of your personal, and people actually feeling like, oh wow, like
the values,
they're
like discipline or something.
Yeah, they actually feel it through your content. They actually are able to connect, and that's what the internal branding does. The foundation, the fact that you actually took time to figure all that out.
That's the value foundation, is what you're saying.
And then it's being expressed out in the world, which is
like, what values do you want to highlight? Like for me, it was, discipline or consistency. So that's how, with running or, this. So, but that's a good for the audience to see, like, how do you kind of dissect that a little bit? But I think that also shows, like, if somebody has a family, like I don't have a family. So, but I feel like a lot of real estate agents do very well when they have like family content, and so I feel like that's really worked for them, or like that would be good because
because the ultimate thing is to have people trust you.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate thing. So you're bringing in your family, you're bringing in your lifestyle, so that they're like, Love that. I can trust this person. Yeah, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust, and the ultimate factor is they have to trust you to move you, to help you, take you through the process and all of that. So that's the intention and the purpose behind your content, is the fact that you're building trust. And you're also accelerating the trust because they can instantly go on your page and be like, oh, she's a family person. Oh, she's a runner. So it's like,
and
instantly.
now
they can capture that quickly and be like, oh, I trust this person.
I love that. And I feel like also with the, so back to kind of this with the brand, your brand strategy. So before marketing, what are the main mistakes that you see most kind of making right now?
So the main mistake is they bypass the foundation. They actually do not put effort or time into the building of the foundation. And the fact that people don't actually visually see it, it's there, but people don't fully see it. So it's kind of like, that's still going to show in your marketing.
That's good though. Yeah. I never really thought of it like that, like a foundational, but that makes sense. I mean, I look for that too. I look for like if I'm following someone, I look for consistency in their posting. Like, so if I'm going to go find somebody to come on here with me or to highlight their business, same kind of thing. Before, I didn't have anybody on here. So now you can go on and you can like see the videos and you can see the content. But at first, like, I didn't really have that. So I would try to look for like-minded people like me. Like that I saw educating others, and then would invite them that way. So
and that's how
that had like 2,000 to 5,000 friends. So still within where I was, like, didn't try getting somebody that had like a ton more, but somebody that was posting consistently, trying to educate, but look for these. And I could see it instantly when I went on their things. So so that is really good. Like, you really can see once you start building that.
Yeah, and people can see it. People, like, the whole, also, like, the goal, I mean, it's not always going to be perfect, but the goal is to help your audience understand and connect as much as possible. It's like, you could see ads or you could see all these things coming out, and then a lot of ads might not pertain to you. It's like, okay, why is this being shown? Like, I don't need this service. I don't need this product. It's like, that's those people that are just throwing ads out there that are not really just understanding their audience. They're not really like doing research on who they're really like serving. So that's kind of the challenge there, where it's like, okay, well, if you do more of the branding, more of, actually having a strategy, then you are much more likely to connect with those people that actually need your service and that need, like, are ready to buy. Like,
and it's hard too. Well, and are saturated, are industries that are really saturated or very crowded.
Right.
Like you mentioned before, like insurance agents. I never really thought about them, but mortgage, there's a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
Agents.
Yep.
But I've seen some of the best that, just constant personal marketing.
Right.
Not just like the listing or the...
And I think the most important thing is that you're actually taking the time to gain the clarity.
Within.
Right. Within what positions you, what makes you different, how are you standing out, like you're actually doing with the strategy that you're actually doing, then you get the marketing strategy. Yeah. So that's what's missing, the fact that people don't spend too much time in actually doing the strategy, which leads to the marketing strategy. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like at first everyone just told me to post. So I did the education route. I knew I wanted to educate, but I wasn't very like good at the videos or anything, But they were like, just do it.
Yeah.
So, but at least I had that one, like I knew I wanted to educate.
Right.
So I just kind of started there.
Yeah.
And maybe if people don't even have, or like if you could go and look at other people that are doing it.
Right.
And then just like at first just kind of copy.
Getting inspiration for sure. But then this is the role that your personal like story has that plays the role into your marketing. By understanding more of like, say, your origin story, what's the purpose? Why did you get onto this? So actually like that is the role that you're like actually getting ideas into your differentiation, because people are doing business with you because they like you, they know you.
Yeah. And I feel like I started adding more of that this year, like more of a personal, more of like my story and my why. Well, also this like has opened up for me to talk more personally,
right?
Because I highlight a lot of other people, but I didn't always go in on the personal, on mine. So I've been trying to do that more this year.
Yeah, and that's a common thing. People, are hesitant sometimes with like bringing in more of the personal, but that's also part of the building trust part. This is, they know you're in business, but they also want to get to know who you are.
Exactly.
And that's the strategy behind adding some of your personal, and I think the more you can understand where you come from, what are your patterns, what led you into like that discovery, it leads to the expression of it, to the execution of it.
And then more like-minded people. Like like I said, I got baptized almost like 2 years ago. So I added the video on there, I think at my 1 year, but just recently I actually pinned it to the top.
I saw that.
So now when you come to the page, and it's like almost like I want them to see that value of me, like where I am. So I actually like pinned it. So that is something new because it was down there, but then I am trying to tell more of my story now. Yeah. And I want them to understand like, her consistency. And I've talked on my page about like addiction and stuff. So, or just like in that, if you read that, like, going to like building my relationship with Jesus. So I feel like, I really do. Now, I've done some of these things, but I haven't really known that I've been doing them. But
yeah, you've been doing
I'm like, yes, okay. But it makes sense. And I feel more better and confident putting out my content out there.
Yeah.
Now that I feel like I'm getting who I am out of there, but it also like it took me a while. Like we've been on this journey the past couple of years. So now I finally feel like I'm stepping into that. So, but I see that difference like with the content too. And I see it with like
now
other
you
people.
have a different perspective on it. Yeah, because now like for example, you're attracting more, say, faith-based business owners, faith-based investors. Yeah. So now like it's more seamless because you understand, you get it,
just same values. We don't even really need to fully touch on it. Like it's just like kind of vibing,
Exactly.
That first conversation, or even like with our conversation, God comes out in the first,
and it comes naturally.
First conversation. What do you do? What do you do? Testimonies and then I feel like that's kind of where my business has been going. Like even in my business meetings, I'm talking about testimonies and stuff. And that's why I love having it on there. It already opens that door. And it keeps that open for people who want to have those conversations. And then the ones that are just like against it, I feel like they might not even get to me
Well,
anymore.
That's the whole point of branding too. You kind of have to really intentionally be different, intentionally be like, hey, like if you don't really like what I stand for, that's okay. There's the right people that are for me, and I want to help those people.
And I feel like that comes with age too, and just getting to know yourself better. And we've seen that on social media over the past year or two with the elections. There's been a lot of controversy going around with just different influencers, and they've been like, I posted this, and they would lose like 1,000, 5,000 followers in something because they posted, usually it was something like political or, or faith-based. That's happened a lot.
It does.
Especially this year, there's been more of a spiritual awakening.
For sure. And
I've seen people like, wow. And at the same time, it's like some have lost like 5,000 and they're like, but that's fine because I'm sure they gained 1,000 too. So they might have lost 5, but they lost 5,000 of people that don't agree with them, that really is probably always going to be looking against their content anyways, or maybe always have something negative to say. Like, it's always like, if you're always reading it from the lens of like, you don't believe it, it's like, oh, just get another algorithm.
Exactly.
Because then you're always going to have that person that, or those people that are going against you. And yeah, I've seen a lot of influencers, and I aspire more to kind of build a community like that. But I have seen some that just great comments, like all through and through. You know, that's a community building. That is when I see that, and people aren't fighting in the comments or being rude or telling the content creator like how dumb they are, like, just, you know, and some content is built to be controversial, so that's what they're going to get.
Right.
But a lot of people that are like building their brand, and that I've seen some that like, wow, what a great community, and everyone's just so great and positive in the comments. So I think that is like what you're saying, like rooted in their values.
Yeah.
And it shows in their community.
And that's a huge key word, is community, you know? It's
like that's what you're building.
Yeah,
like,
and then you want those people to refer you. Because if they refer you, they're likely like those people with similar values. So it's just,
and that's what I love.
It's a ripple thing
more now.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Like, let's just keep growing. Yeah, let's keep growing. But again, it took me a long time in my life to know my values.
Right.
Like now I'm several years in of knowing like who I am and where I'm going. And before I was just kind of like floating around.
Yeah,
I also had a lot of people that were like floating around.
For sure.
I feel like that's huge.
Yeah, and I learned through my own journey of building the brand is there's trade-offs to everything.
Yeah.
There's trade-offs. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm showing more of myself. I'm being much more authentic. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm showing who I am and looking for those people that also see themselves in my journey. But then the trade-off of being like, okay, there's people that are not going to like you, and there's people that are not going to agree with what I say. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm going to repel those people. Those people are going to fall off my journey, and me being okay with that, because my vision is like, all right, like, I love you guys, but if you guys are not fully resonating with this, I'm not going to like lose that integrity, you know, with myself.
And you don't have to force it anymore.
Right.
Or
abandon myself because of like, I want to please you. I want to please everybody, but it's like the trade-off. I'm like, okay, I'm building a brand. I'm really intentional about building this community. I know I'm going to have to, you know, you can't
make everybody happy.
And accepting that.
And yeah, you just have to, and if that's where you struggle with like the validation, like not everybody is going to be satisfied, but then I just think if I create more of an environment, it's more, or, you know, and that community, and I do that with like this podcast, or I do monthly events, and, you know, just bringing great people together each time, and people meeting, you know, other people, and making connections that way.
The power of connection. You know, it's like one connection leads to another, and it's like, well, that's the power of people being in like, you know, similar frequencies, where it's like, hey, I saw that you,
and
it's
I've
like,
seen that like growing now.
Connecting the dots, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Wow, yeah, I'm helping like now. Right? And this is like a year of me going to events and stuff, but now that I kind of know myself, now I feel like I'm really helping bringing other people together, like the right people together, same kind of qualities.
Right. So. And it makes things worth it. You know, it makes things being like, oh my gosh, like I see it now. It's all coming to life. It's like, okay, yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
I know, right? Praise God.
Thank you. Yeah, because these past few years have been tough, like in the industry, even your industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Coachings have gone up significantly, I think, especially on social media.
Yeah.
But again, just like anything else, with social media, it's getting more saturated. So you have to keep
goes back to the
out.
Branding. It's like, okay, you're very convicted in who you are and what makes you different. You're not like sucked in by the noise. You're not sucked in by the competition or the fear. That's why I'm so passionate about branding, because if you actually do it right, you don't get like sucked in.
What about like the algorithm? Is there like an algorithm there? Is that like a real, like a lot of people will be like post a certain times of days, and like I've never really committed to anything like that, but do you think stuff like that works, or is that all just kind of?
I mean, it can work, but I'm more of as long as you're consistent.
Yeah.
And let it kind of, I'm huge on organicness. I mean, yes, I believe in obviously like all these, but it's like let it organically lead you.
Just eventually. Like, because I feel like I make great like educational content, but I still feel like that little barrier of like with the algorithm. But I don't post like 3 to 5 times a day. So
yeah,
I don't know if I've committed to something like.
Well, I think that, I see it as in like the algorithm is working to like you're attracting who you are.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, well, I just need to keep getting better, and the algorithm matches my vibe.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm feeling a certain way or something, like all of a sudden I start seeing all these things where I'm like, oh, okay, you know.
That's
so
true.
It's kind of like the more that I can actually focus inward, then it's like matching me in a sense.
So all that energy.
Vibes.
I know. Vibes. It's a real. Yeah, I believe in all the vibes, the energy. And then, so if there was one branding shift that they can make today to start attracting new clients, like what would that be?
Yeah, because sometimes branding could be a little bit abstract or ambiguous.
And there's so many moving parts.
Yeah, there is. So if it's one thing, I always emphasize, like, really know your why. Like, I always say this, but it's like connect to that driver, connect to that motivator. Because it's like we spend a majority of our time working. We spend like so much time and energy into going out there, into serving, into like... And being able to have that like inner knowing of why you're doing what you're doing, like, and more than anything is emotionally connecting to it. It's like, oh, okay, like, you know, this is getting me past my own self, getting me past my own ego or my own insecurities. That's what's gotten me through. Like, that's why it gets me in the, like in so many opportunities, because I remember that it's not about me, it's just a message I'm here to communicate. So I make it less about like how I look or what are people going to think. It's like, okay, well, I'm connected to something higher than me, so that's leading me. So helping more people connect to that, like what is why do you wake up every day, like what, you know.
And you said it's higher than you, so you're more focused on the message to get out. And I think that's great. And I feel like that's also part of that relationship with God, and that's brought that out of me too, and why I feel like my business has been, you know, growing also more like consistently, is that, yes, I used to only more just like focused right here on like, I used to not like my voice on like videos and stuff.
Right.
And, you know, I used to just dwell over these little things, and it just getting over that hump. Like, no, you have to get the information out. Like, they need to hear this. They need to see this. Somebody needs to see this and get your help somehow. So to not make it about me and to kind of get out of that.
That's huge, because it gets us past those like huge barriers that are there. And I know we're not alone. I know that because
so many people.
I have a lot of conversations with people who are like, oh, I just can't do the camera. Oh, I can't, like, oh, I hate my voice.
I couldn't either, which is hilarious. Because
me neither.
My broker tells me, because when I started with them, I've been with them now almost 3 years. So, but I went on my own in 23, and it was a really tough year. Like, I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't know it was going to be that hard.
Right.
And so, like, I left in May, and then by August, you know, everyone kept telling me, like, you have to do videos. But I was like, and we had the podcast set up there, but I was like, I hate being on video. I hate my voice. Like, I can't do this. And my roommate, like this girl that I would hang out with all the time, she basically told me, like, she spun it in my mind how she knew I would take it. And she was like, you know, if you can't do this video, like, you're gonna be left behind. Like, in your industry, you have to do videos because that's like what everybody's on their phone. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be successful. Basically, she went in, she's like, you're not going to be successful. Like you have to. And she tied it more to my business and getting my work out there. And she's like, nobody even cares. Like, you're probably going to get like 5 views on it. Like, she's like, it's probably going to be terrible and it's not going to be good, but just start doing it. And I would do all this content and then not post it. Mm-hmm. So she was also there to make me, she's like, you just wasted a bunch of time. Great. And like, but she knew how to get to me, and with that little tough love type thing. So but now,
there's so many business owners that have that challenge and have that problem. And that's why it's like helping them see the benefits of their business. Side. Yes,
get out of your voice and everything. How are you going to help these people?
And how it benefits their business is what like the business of the people going. It's like much more efficient because people can see you now. People, you exist,
and it just helps so much because even without trying, you build like what I feel in my content. I've built credibility. Like, people know that I know what I'm talking about now. Or, like, that I know mortgages.
And those are huge factors of business, So it's like people that are still really afraid of the camera and are in business. They do most of their work in person and cold calling, but they refuse to go online, And that's where I'm like...
But that's where you build the trust. Right. Actually, I'm not the biggest fan of like cold calling. I don't think anybody is. But I've actually now at this point, I've done so many videos. So we've done these, we do mailers. So like for refinances, so I'll just mail out. Like I have hundreds and thousands, just mail them out. And if people call, they'll call, but sometimes they get nervous because like they don't know. They just got the mailer like in the mail. And I have actually saved deals and closed because I am just a random person on the phone and they don't know me. And once we start getting into the application, that's where they get nervous because I do need personal information to get your thing. So I have actually been able to use my content. I'm like, look, I make a lot of content now. I was like, I send them my Instagram, my YouTube, and I was like, look, just look at it, see, this is me. I send them my website, and I'm like, if you feel comfortable, if you want to talk more, then text me and we'll get started, but I will need some information. But like, I'm out here. This is me. I'm a real person. I'm educating people. And I've gotten and closed deals like that. So
that's huge.
That happened like this year for me.
Yeah.
So, but I've been doing it a while now. So, I mean, it takes time just like anything else.
It takes time.
But now I'm able to, it's one of those things, I guess, in business too. It's like, you want to make the things work for you. So these are in those moments that now I could just send it. It's almost like just kind of sending some credibility. So, and then it's not going to actually do anything, but now I can still use that work that I've already done. Yeah. Being like, hey, like I'm real, like I promise.
Accelerates that trust.
Yeah, and then they can run through
the credibility and the trust.
They see my videos and then they're like, okay, she's real. And then like I'm with my mom and dad, and then they're like,
Isn't it so worth it though? Like you mentioned it does take time, but it's worth it because you have they say assets or your digital assets or your intellectual, your IP, like you have all of this, your digital real estate basically.
Yes.
You got a lead from a cold call and they have no idea who you are. Okay,
here, like get to know me a little bit, and I don't force it on them. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to send you some stuff. I educate people. I have a podcast. I interview, and then it makes them feel like, okay. And then they get to see me, get to see who I am. And it's not just like one weird random video. Like I've obviously been doing this a long time, and then they can scroll back. You can even scroll to see where I changed my life. Like, you can see the difference. So I think that's important too. Like you can see, oh, wow, okay, yeah, she wasn't like as consistent. And then it's like,
It's like took it to the next level.
I'm like, hey, you don't need to go that far back. I know, because I actually built off of and this was always a controversial thing. I'm sure you get, should they start from scratch or start building their brand on already like what they have. So I was scared to do that. Like, I actually created an account for my loans, but then because I lived such kind of like a different life before, I didn't really feel comfortable.
Right, it makes sense.
But it
depends on the situation. Yeah,
I already had like thousands of followers, so somebody was like, "Dude, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
like just do it.
Just rebrand it.
It's so much.
Rewrite it. Rebrand it.
So much in our minds that hold us back.
Right.
But that's why it helps to have people like you and just coaches and that can pinpoint that mental barrier.
Exactly.
Because it's not really about the action of doing it. It's like up here. Like, oh my gosh, somebody is going to remember like that one time when I posted that picture when I was like drinking.
Nobody truly cares.
Nobody cares. That's what, there's so many times now. I'm like, nobody cares.
Yeah, there's always this thing that gets like really ingrained in my mind where the audience is always thinking, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
What's in it for me? Like, they're thinking that. Anything you're posting is like, what's in it for them? What's in it for them? What's in it for them?
And that's where I try to, like, okay, give a tool.
Right.
My information, like, give some type of tool.
Education, a perspective, a nugget, you know, a tool.
Then they can't say that I didn't help them. Like, that's some good value. Like, when you need it, maybe you don't want to buy a house, and maybe it's just, like, super annoying right now. But I assure you, if you turn in like in a year and you want to buy a house and you're going to be sitting there and be like, who's that girl? There was that girl on my social media, like always talking about it.
Like when that, when the problem or when they're ready to buy or something, it's like, oh.
And I do the same thing with people that when I don't need something, but then when I do need something, I'm like, who's been talking about that?
You go back to your brain. It's like,
or I like go to my email, like someone's been trying to drop that seed in there.
Isn't it so interesting how the mind works though when you're like presented with something and all of a sudden your brain starts going into like who's top of mind or who, if they ask you for something, it's like, and then where your brain instantly goes.
And then it's like, who can, and I usually at this point in time, honestly, I go to social media. Mm-hmm. I'm like, who's been posting?
Who's top of mind? Who's top of mind?
Sometimes if I need to give a referral or to need something, I'm like, who's been posting a lot? I kind of look like who's,
right.
And like I'm a business, like I'm self-employed. So now I definitely always rather go to the person who is also self-employed rather than like a mom, like a big, more of a corporate, like I'm going to try to seek out that person that I know is hustling on their own.
Yeah.
If I have business to give them or if I have business to give them.
Yeah. And going back a little just to like the emphasis of the brand strategy and how it helps you like stay consistent, stay like actually designing it in a way, because there's always a plan behind everything. Mm-hmm. So the better people can have things planned out, the better it'll be for their consistency, for how they show up, because that's another problem that people can be like, they'll go full force and all of a sudden they fall off.
Like resolutions. I don't believe in that. Like I don't, but exactly. See, I don't do those.
Yeah, and you have that huge value of consistency. You already have that, but there's so many people that don't.
Yes.
But
that's why I tell them that's what you got to work on. Like, next, and that's such a hard thing to, I'll do it next
because
year.
It's not easy to remain like to actually be, consistent for years and just have it be
and still have it like, and as a business owner you could be like consistent for years and still not have made money yet, right? And that's part of being like an entrepreneur. So it's like there's and you will hear some of the most successful people, like go listen to their books, like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, some yes they're crushing it, but some are 10 years, and it's like if you you got to work on, I feel like hearing those stories really help
Oh, yeah.
you get over that hump where it's like, you know,
like you're in it for the long game.
Yeah, you have to make that commitment.
It's that commitment to the long game, for sure.
With content, though.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, you just have to commit to it. Like, commit to it before, but make the plan.
Exactly. The plan will help it be much more effective. That's where it's like, okay, well, you're designing things, content or marketing strategies that actually you enjoy doing or you're good at. Because if you're doing something that people are just telling you what to do, like this is what you need to do, it doesn't end up working. Because what if it doesn't resonate? Or what if it's just something they really don't want to do, but they're doing it because someone is telling them to do? No, like actually discover what marketing is going to be best for you and based on your business, and then designing around that. Because then that's what's going to keep you consistent, because you're actually going to want to do it.
You actually have, well, like it goes back to the why. Like you actually have like heart in that.
Right.
Like you believe that is the part of you. Because that's what I see. Like I feel like a lot of my thing is kind of education, because I wish that somebody else would have given me a little more resources. So I feel like I'm always trying to be the resource or give the resource, because that's what, I mean.
And that's probably a huge reason why you are consistent, because you believe in it so much.
And I think that's a big thing,
that's
too.
Huge.
Belief. But that's what comes through it if somebody's just telling you. That's why when you go work for these like big companies, they'll give you all the resources and stuff. But it's like, okay, wait, what am I doing? Like you have to stick to this, like to their box. And
exactly.
It's really hard to like be yourself and grow in your business when you're just stuck to this sheet that they gave you. So that's personally me, like why I want to go on my own. So just to kind of wrap up here, I do want to bring, we'll bring a little more God into this, but what is something, from God that has helped you more keep that faith-driven business also in a time like this? Like, do you do it through your content? Is it something that, how do you kind of keep I know that you're big with keeping your values through your content, but how do you kind of lead with that mentality? Like in this time, it's a little harder.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I'm deeply passionate about, because I think there's a difference between confidence and conviction. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you're convicted, you're like, no, you just know this. I think it's just past confidence, because you can lose the confidence here and there. But even when the confidence is low, you're convicted, so it's still going to get you through even when your confidence is low. So that's been huge. Like I truly feel convicted. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like God has convicted my heart through my story, through my experience. Like I have like a testimony. I have proof of my life, I have my story. So it's like, I know this is real. And so that's what gets me. Like, I'm not saying that there's no hard moments. There's definitely moments where confidence is low, where there's moments of wanting to give up, where there's moments of like, is this really going to work out? Like, is this happening? But underneath all of that, there's this conviction where it's like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be going through this as well. Like, this is also part of your plan. And like remembering that even when I'm in it.
And like even the doubt, we've been talking about that so much right now, that doubt and wrestling are good. Like it's okay because you do have that conviction, that you're in the right place, that he's with you, but and some people are like, oh, if you're doubting, like that's bad. Like, no, like I'm a wrestler. But I feel like, like I journal a lot, like if there's some type of thing going on, and then I keep pushing forward. But I feel like that's been also a little controversial lately, that I've been digging into, really with that doubt and that wrestling, because you do know.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. I'm like, doubt is part of it. Like God, he knows that I doubt. And he knows that he's going to get me through as well. We
work through it together.
Exactly.
But as long as you're bringing the doubt to him. So see, for me, I used to run out into like, I didn't have him. I didn't have that. I mean, he was always with me, but like, I didn't have that source.
Right.
So for me, I ran out into alcohol and men is like what I always say. And now I take everything to him. Like, I don't do any of that. I've been sober almost 2 years and just,
and that's all proof right there.
Yeah. That's like my biggest miracle.
Yeah. That's a huge flex.
I don't know what by the grace of God, I'm almost at 2 years sober.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's proof of God's work, God's grace. You know, for me, it's also, you know, been a journey, 4 years being single, like all, you know, sobriety. I mean, alcohol here and there, but just really feeling that like everything is to God now.
Yeah. So, but as long as you take those, that's what I think. Like, as long as you're taking that wrestling and that doubt, it doesn't I feel like it's stronger, but it's the same thing when you're a business owner. So it's like a lot of people are afraid of like the fail and the struggle, but really that's what brings. That's what actually gets to the success. And that's what actually builds and multiplies.
Amen.
And that's what's going to get to everything. So, you know, actually what you're working for. So I feel like.
And the more that we accept the fact that, you know, that's all part of the plan, the more that you can actually have the drive to keep going through it.
Yeah.
To just be like, all right, well, this is part of it.
I feel like that's like a lot too. If you're a business owner, like, and I would wonder, I'd want to talk to a business owner or like a mortgage loan originator or a real estate agent that doesn't have God, or, you know, maybe like an atheist. Yeah. That like, how has this been for you? Because this has had to have been like, I would just love to talk to somebody or like interview them a little bit.
I've actually had that same question before.
Like, I'm like, how is this going? Because I don't know how. I mean, it's been really tough building, because he like, also when you have your relationship with God, you're also never staying in the same spot. You know, he's constantly always trying to make me better, you know?
Oh, it's like,
I'm like, I think we're good.
It's never ending.
Yeah. I think you could be better here. Hold on. Here, we're going to go on this streak of like, you know, constant transformation.
It's just falling in love with the process. Like, that's where I came to a realization where it's like, oh God, you just want me to fall in love with this process. Yes. You want me to fall in love with the day to day. That's what you want me to do, instead of feeling like I need to keep reaching these things where it's like, I mean, the destiny. Yeah, exactly.
I have my boss, or like my broker, that's just, and this whole like 3 years, man, I'm always like, when I call him, just like, like, you know, I want to give up. And he's just like, well, gotta trust the process. I'm like, gosh, and I know, but it's been so great to have him. But it's like, it really is. And I feel like, and just God also wants you to be rooted, like not have, it's more, yes, you want to reach a goal of the outcome, but I think he's trying to work on your heart. So it's
kind of like everything you had to go through to arrive to the goal, like who you became in the process of becoming. Who you are becoming in the journey of reaching the goal. Yeah. I think that's what it is.
So that's like the beautiful part of the story, is like the becoming part. And I think that's where, when you are in the community or in the church community, and it's really kind of dials you, or just like walking in your faith, really kind of, it's really has brought me back to not really get out of the results. And I think that's a really hard perception to break from, because society has always told you, like, if you do good, like, you get rewarded type thing. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. So we really need to stop, you know, it's not just in the result. Like, and this happens to so many people. When you get to the result, what happens? Like, the moment goes over you so fast.
You're like, and now what?
Now what? Mm-hmm. And that's just, and it's so wild. And I feel like those moments, you know, and I just feel like God has helped me in those, enjoy more in the moment.
Shifting the perspective into the day by day, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So like you said, like, really enjoying the process. Like, I'm just going to make you love this process. So you're not even thinking about
enjoying my morning routine, you know, enjoying my prayer.
I'm a big morning. I'm a big morning person, like morning routine.
Yeah, me too.
And then I do, I have my hour with God basically like every single morning. So that's like huge for me.
Yeah.
And all right. So thank you so much, Emily, for coming in. I'm going to have all of her stuff listed below if you are looking for coaching, to get your content out there and just to build that brand and be rooted in your values. Here's your girl. So thank you so much for coming.
That was so fun.
And until next time.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye.